I'm friends with Conor. I've known him a long time. Just before he got into professional boxing, he's a lovely young man. He's a lovely kid. I'm not the greatest fan of Chris Eubank Jr, but I tell you what, I admire the control the boy has over things. I must admit, I mean, the boy's in such control when it comes to press conferences. He's playing it like he's the orchestra, and he's the guy at the front. He's playing them all.
He's conducting
and he's doing exactly.
Tony Bellew dives right in, immediately expressing his strong support for Conor Benn. He doesn't hold back, describing him as a true, grounded warrior who has been solid long before turning professional. On the other hand, when the name Chris Eubank Jr. comes up, Bellew's attitude shifts sharply. His admiration fades, and his tone turns to one of disdain. He accuses Eubank of manipulating the media, playing a game where he pretends to be in control, as if he's running the entire show. But for Bellew, this isn't a sign of brilliance. It's just arrogance disguised as confidence. In contrast, his praise for Conor feels almost personal, like he's supporting a brother in arms. It's a stark difference. While Eubank may dominate the press, in Bellew's eyes, Conor leads with honor. The lines are clear, and they are not just drawn, they are etched deeply. Bellew's loyalty to Conor Benn could not be more obvious.
I'm excited, but it's madness. It's crazy. It's taken over the country a little bit, and it's done that because it's crossed over commercially. It's huge. It's absolutely huge because every era and every different type of generation buys into it, Jim, and that's what makes it big. The grandmothers in the bingo halls are talking about it. When he slaps an egg off the side of his head, which I don't like and I think is a bit dangerous and stupid, it takes it to another level commercially. And like I said, it's out of control.
On the flip side, Tony Bellew completely tays into the media frenzy surrounding the fight, criticizing it for prioritizing attention over the sport itself. He goes hard on Chris Eubank Jr., stating, "This isn't a sport, it's a freak show run by a man more interested in fame than in winning." While Conor Benn stays laser-focused on the fight, Eubank's antics, like the childish egg-slapping stunt, turn what should be a fierce rivalry into something laughable. Bellew sees these actions as both reckless and foolish, calling them a disrespect to the sport. What angers him even more is that people, from the elderly to teenagers, are actually buying into it. Though Bellew acknowledges the commercial success of the spectacle, he deems it morally corrupt. He argues this isn't hype, it's humiliation dressed up as promotion. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
I have never in my entire life witnessed anyone work so hard as Conor Benn in training camp. And if Conor Benn loses, and I don't believe he will, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I've done absolutely everything I can to win this fight. And he will win this fight. And he will knock Chris Eubank out inside 4 rounds. That is my prediction.
Without question, Eddie Hearn stands firmly behind Conor Benn, and is not just backing him for the fight. He's talking about the unmatched dedication Conor has shown, a level of commitment Hearn has never witnessed before. The big question is how far this relentless drive will take him. And according to Eddie, the answer is crystal clear. Conor will knock Chris Eubank Jr. out. Hearn's confidence in this prediction is so strong that he's willing to bet everything on it. What's more, he's not predicting a late round win. He believes Conor will score a brutal knockout in the first 4 rounds. In contrast, Eddie finds the idea of Eubank Jr. having any chance against this unstoppable force laughable. He doesn't mince words. If Conor loses, he'll know he gave everything to win. But make no mistake, Hearn is betting on a swift and decisive destruction.
I think weight classes do matter. I've always said I think young Ben is going to be super strong. He's coming up and he will be bull strong. To go with the aggression as well is a dangerous concoction. So, but, you know, if it was all about sheer power and strength, it's only part of it. You know, there's other things involved in world level boxing. So Eubank's experience, I think he's going to step back, he's going to try and catch him on the way in, try and cover him up, tie him up. I just think...
Peter Fury makes a bold statement, not holding back as he acknowledges that weight classes do matter, but he believes Conor Benn's power and aggression are in a league of their own. He's convinced that Benn will come into the fight stronger and more terrifying than anyone anticipates, bringing a ferocious, reckless aggression that could shake the division to its core. The burning question, however, is whether Eubank Jr.'s experience will be enough to withstand this onslaught. Fury isn't shy about his thoughts. While Benn's sheer strength might not guarantee a win, he sees him as a ticking time bomb. As for Eubank Jr., Fury is clear about his strategy. Chris will adopt the role of the matador, biding his time to strike, using his experience to stifle Benn's wild attacks. On the other hand, Fury envisions Eubank taking advantage of Benn's raw aggression, using his superior technique to shut him down before Benn even realizes what's happening. It's a battle of pure power versus calculated skill, and one fighter is going to hit the canvas hard.
Yeah, I think it's a mismatch on paper. Of course it is. It's a fella that won a British title at welterweight, who hasn't boxed for a long time, against a faded world-class middleweight. So I haven't really got any interest, to be honest.
X-Lap not get you excited for us?
Not really, no. I'm not really an excitable guy.
But here's the twist. Dave Allen doesn't just criticize, he completely destroys the narrative. He tears apart the idea of a Eubank versus Benn rematch, calling it an embarrassment to the sport. According to Allen, this fight is nothing more than a pathetic spectacle, a desperate cash grab that relies on nostalgia but lacks any real substance. He goes off on the whole concept, labeling it as a cheap circus act, a faded middleweight facing off against a welterweight who struggles to secure victories even domestically. It's a mismatch in every way. Allen doesn't stop there, describing the fight as a sideshow, a money grab devoid of any genuine sporting value. The so-called rivalry, a complete joke. These fighters are riding on the coattails of their fathers' legacies, while fans are being force-fed a watered-down version of what should be a legitimate contest. Allen's harsh conclusion: this isn't boxing, it's a disgrace to the sport, all for the sake of a quick payday.
And I felt sorry for Junior, because he is a 34-year-old man at the time. He wants his own thing. His father is always going to be the centre of attention.
Yeah.
I think he's right to make his own decisions.
Simon, I see exactly what you're saying, because Nigel has stood back from Connor's career, and Chris Senior was right in the front at the beginning. And I think it's great that Junior is walking his own path.
So do I.
However, they have had horrendous tragedy in their family.
No one saw this coming. Steve Collins has just dropped a bombshell, shaking the very foundations of the boxing world with a savage, no-holds-barred critique of Chris Eubank Jr.'s struggling career. Collins doesn't focus solely on the punches in the ring. He frames this as a deeper fight for freedom, identity, and ultimate self-determination. He pulls no punches in his brutal analysis of the toxic father-son relationship that has stifled Eubank Jr.'s potential as a fighter. While Conor Benn has flourished, carving out his own legacy with Nigel Benn taking a step back, Eubank Jr. has been stifled by a father who refuses to let him emerge from his shadow. But here's where it gets even darker. Collins suggests that Eubank isn't just facing opponents in the ring, but also battling his own flesh and blood. This legacy, once a source of pride, has become a prison for Eubank Jr. What's even more concerning is Collins' implication that the emotional baggage from the Eubank family could be weighing Chris down more than anyone realized. The real question now is, can he ever break free from his father's shadow, or is he doomed to remain trapped in it forever?
I see Conor Benn knocking out Chris Eubank Jr. That's what I see. And don't ask me why. Because really and truly, when things are foregone conclusions, they're never foregone. Until they really are foregone. So, yeah.
And there's a lot of people with their opinions on the weight clause, right? The rehydration clause.
I'm not worried about the rehydration clause or anything else. I just know at the time of when Chris Eubank was born, the rivalry with him and with his dad and Nigel Benn wasn't deeply insipid in his father's genes. At the time of Nigel Benn wife conceiving Conor, the hatred was deep rooted in Nigel Benn, and it's been passed on to the son. And people think, well, that doesn't win fights and the size and this and that. I'm telling you that there's a different kind of spite or somebody willing to go the extra mile because of that hatred. Otherwise, Chris Eubank Jr. will soundly outpoint him. But I just think I could see something crazy like that happening.
On the other hand, Spencer Fearon doesn't hesitate to make a bold statement. He's absolutely convinced that Conor Benn will knock Chris Eubank Jr. out cold. This isn't some deep dive into tactics, weight classes, or even rehydration drama. For Fearon, this fight is far more significant. It's a clash charged by history, a rivalry fueled by raw, inherited hatred that's been passed down from their fathers, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. Fearon believes the feud didn't die in the 90s. It's still alive, burning through Conor's veins like a curse. That animosity shifts the entire dynamic of the fight. This battle isn't just about size or technique anymore. It's about spite, obsession, and completing a family legacy. While Eubank Jr. might be slick and dangerous, Fearon senses something much darker at play. This fight could end in complete chaos, a shocking knockout driven by generations of bad blood. The real question now is, can anyone deny that the hatred between these two families will fuel every punch thrown?
Eubank Jr., I mean, he's stylish and he's skillful. And if that Liam Smith defeat, which worries me a bit for Chris, if that's sort of part of the past, that the rematch was emphatic for Eubank Jr., but it wasn't Liam's night, really, and he had an injury going into it. So that defeat that Eubank suffered worries me a bit, but he's fought in better company, and Conor Benn's got it all to prove. But if there's one guy that wants it more, it's Conor Benn. There's no doubt about that.
On the flip side, Adam Smith has shaken up the boxing world with his brutally candid take on Chris Eubank Jr. and the uncertain road ahead for him. While it's impossible to deny Eubank Jr.'s incredible talent, his skill, charisma, and natural flair are all top tier, Smith doesn't shy away from addressing the glaring flaw in Eubank Jr.'s record, his crushing defeat to Liam Smith. That loss still hangs over him, raising serious doubts about his mental and physical resilience. Although the rematch was framed as an opportunity for redemption, Smith highlights the unfairness of it, considering Liam Smith fought while injured. Despite a solid career, that loss remains a dark cloud over Eubank Jr.'s legacy, exposing cracks in his armor. Shifting focus to Conor Benn, Smith emphasizes that Benn has the drive, hunger, and ambition to prove he's the true powerhouse in this rivalry. The burning question now is, can Eubank Jr. recover and bounce back? Or will Benn seize the moment and prove himself the superior fighter?
So, I'm telling you, they don't like each other.
What have you made of Chris Eubank Jr. going down this road of constantly calling him a cheat?
Chris Eubank Jr. is a great self-promoter. I like Chris Eubank Jr. for boxing. I think he's good for boxing. He's acted slightly out of character in this one because he's never been physical, like in a face-to-face. I think the fight was big enough already, but it made the fight that much bigger, didn't it? So, listen, I'm backing Conor to win the fight, but...
Sam Jones doesn't hold back when discussing the explosive rivalry between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. The bad blood between them is undeniable, and Jones wastes no time pointing out just how personal this has become. Eubank's constant labeling of Benn as a cheat has crossed a line, going beyond what's acceptable in Jones' eyes. While Eubank has always been a master of self-promotion, this time he's taking things to a whole new level, acting in ways no one anticipated and completely stepping out of character, a shift that even surprises Jones. What's more, Jones believes that while the fight was already huge, Eubank's controversial antics have propelled it into an entirely different stratosphere. The real question now is, has Eubank gone too far, or is this a deliberate move to hype the fight? Meanwhile, Jones makes his stance crystal clear, his backing Benn to take the win. And this rivalry is on the brink of shaking the boxing world to its core. The moment of truth is fast approaching.
Look, it's a really good fight. You can look at it two ways, but I just look at it this way. You know, it's a big fight, and anything can happen, and that's why it's box office, and that's why it's a big draw. So it'd be explosive, and anything can happen in that fight. But I'm looking forward to it.
No problem.
On the other hand, Robert McCracken is fully invested in this fight and is not holding back his enthusiasm. This isn't just another match. It's a massive event, a showdown poised to light up the boxing world. McCracken sums it up perfectly. This is a huge, high-stakes fight with the potential for anything to happen. That's what makes it so thrilling and unpredictable, and it's easy to see why it's such a box office draw. The battle between these two fighters promises to be explosive, with both men putting everything on the line. McCracken knows better than anyone that in boxing, anything can change in an instant. One punch, one mistake, and the fight could be over in a flash. Fans are on the edge of their seats, fully aware that this one is set to deliver fireworks. This is a battle for the history books, and the anticipation is building. Get ready, like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest boxing news and unforgettable showdowns.